Hey everybody, here's a quick tip. If you're trying to do some tarps or a dummy tarp, okay, on the dump trailer, I built the tarp box in the bar just out of thin sheet plastic. Still has to be weathered down a bit. Right here is basically the top lip of a lasagna pan. Cut out what you need, and then that's your piano wire tarp bar. And just whatever length you need, save that, because this stuff's pretty useful. Like, this is the rolled part of the tarp. This is what would be like kind of flapping in the wind. The back edge of it, the back end that'll lay back and go over the tailgate right here. Okay. And you can make this just like temporary as well. So right here I'm hog ringing it. So I'm poking holes in the foil, in the aluminum itself, and basically just using the florist wire to hog ring the tarp onto the tarp bar. All right. But if you want to do a fully closed tarp, like something that's laying all the way back to the back end of the trailer, cut the bottom of your lasagna pan, whatever scale, 8 feet wide or whatever the length of your dump trailer is, 28 foot, 35 foot, or whatever you got. And then you can form this stuff to represent like the peak of a load, or put a belly in it if you're running a half a load or empty, or do it how I'm doing it here. Just cut it real short, but that roll is going to look like it's rolled around your center tube of your tarp box right here. So it's almost like a dummy tarp. And I'm making one side stick up a little more because, I don't know, 80% of the dump trailers I've seen, whenever you get these big long arms on these tarp bars, they get bent, they get tweaked, they don't roll up perfect. So, some of them do, like the newer stuff will, like the Camaros or whatever, and the Arrows, they'll roll pretty straight. But the older stuff, you always see guys running down the road with one side of the bar higher. Go over here, a little piece of tarp sticking up, and this one's rolled up real tight. And that's usually what happens. So, like I say, nothing's perfect in real life. So, yeah, top ridge, top perimeter of a lasagna pan. And they're pretty deep. So, I cut this one here, but I mean, they're probably 4 or 5 inches deep. And then you can keep going right around the 90-degree angle and use the bottom of it as well to give you extra length. But makes a nice tarp, and it's already pre-wrinkled. So once we get that painted down and weathered, that's going to be a pretty decent looking, pretty convincing. And like I say, the other tarp I did on the tractor, was the doggy bags. And they make good tarps too. You can use a little piece of that, but this one's a little bit, you can see through it a little bit, a little translucent. So I wanted something solid that's going to look like a more heavy duty tarp. And like I say, I'll either paint that black or super dark green, and then we'll weather it a little bit, and it'll be good enough. And you can just super glue it on there. Close up here. Make some little mini hog rings. And as you can see, those folds are in there. Hog ring it down to coincide with the folds, and you should wind up with a pretty decent tarp. All right, tarp bars installed. As you can see, that foil works pretty decent. Looks like it's scrunched up there with the hog rings in it. I'll roll those around so you can't see that little joint, trim them a little bit more, but just basically hog ring it with that florist wire and spin those hog rings around to the bottom, and then weather up your tarp. Paint it the color you want. You can go red, whatever color tarp you want. I might go like a super dark green on this, and then just weather it. And that's it. And out on the road, take notice of how these dump trailers got their tarps. And you'll see, even on tandems, even on triaxles, sometimes one side's sticking up more than the others. If you're hauling asphalt, you go under the plant, you bend the arm, who the hell knows what happens. Loader guy hits it, but regularly they're not even, okay? They don't roll even. A lot of them. Not all, but a great number of them. So use that foil from the top of the lasagna pan, and it works pretty decent. It's already kind of pre-rolled, pre-wrinkled, and we'll cut back in and I'll show you what it looks like after it's all painted. All right, thanks. All right, there it is in regular old Tester's flat black, but I'm gonna put some super dark green on it, the acrylic, water-based acrylic. What's this here? Some of that right there, some thicket. It's pretty dark green. And then so yeah, there's a long section of it, and that's just, it's not even fully dry yet. I just put the old regular Tester's flat black on there, undiluted, you know, so it'll like cover up the aluminum. You put 2 coats on if you want. It doesn't take out any detail of the wrinkles or whatever, but they look pretty decent, you know. So I'll bounce back in once I get the get a lower shot of that. Not bad, you know, good enough. I'll show you what it looks like after you get the dark green on there, the acrylic dark green. Then we'll dry brush it and weather it down a little bit. All right, so here we got the flat black, which is going to be your Model Master flat black as a base color. I'll use it. Did a little sample piece right here. So your flat black is put on, enamel is put on as a base color. You can see it here. I left some out. That's the thicket green. That's the satin finish acrylic enamel paint. Walmart's got it, super cheap. Hobby Lobby. That's right over the aluminum. You can do that if you want, but that's raw right over the aluminum. That's the Tester's Model Master flat black right about here, and then that's with some of that green acrylic, thicket green, thicket folk art stuff over that foil lasagna pan top edge. You know, it's got a little bit of a sheen to it, but that'll dry a little bit flatter. But it also looks like a rubber impregnated tarp, you know. And I'm gonna do a little dry brushing on there to bring out some details. But up on the trailer, there it is. I left it a little darker in the center. Never mind the rubber band, that's just holding everything together till I'm done building it. Pick out the hog rigs with some like rust and silver, you know, get a metal look to them. But I left that center kind of black because, you know, if you haul asphalt, you'll get the center of your tarp right down the middle, soaked up with that liquid AC that's in the asphalt. Load after load after load, it'll start to go black in the center. So all that gummy shit builds up and soaks through the tarp. Then your sides are a little more green. Or you can do the same thing on a red tarp, you know, whatever. Yeah, hopefully you can see that. The light's not the greatest, but aluminum foil lasagna pan. Let me get it weathered down a little bit and pick those hog rings out, and then I'll take another shot. But not bad. All right, there it is with the hog rings. picked out a little bit. They're already metal, right? So I've touched them with a little bit of rust. Just a little of the Tamiya panel line. It's brown, but I use it for rust too. It works pretty good. It's real thin. And then touch them with that. And then I don't know, you guys heard of these? The God Hand sanding sponges. Real nice. I like them. They work really well. And just touch that, like, just brush it. And it'll bring the metal right back. You don't have to paint it, because the florist wire is metal to begin with. So use everything you can. All the tricks. And I'm gonna weather it down a little bit more with some dry brushing to kind of bring those wrinkles up a little bit. And we'll see how it looks. Thought about something else too. So also, you know, in like a cab over where they have the curtain to crawl back into the sleeper, you can use that there as well. I know most of the kits have them molded in, but if you want something different, you could go that. Paint it whatever color your interior is. Work pretty good. Rolled up blanket on the bed, whatever. A lot of uses for this. And that's also what I did the floor with. Like I said in my previous video, I'll be coming up with a tutorial on how to do that. It's pretty easy. Alright, that's it. That's the tarp with all the little bit of the black showing through from the bottom. Black showing through the green. Wash on it. The hog rings are done. Weathered the tarp box down a little bit. Mud flaps too. And then yep, that's the sample piece I was working on there. You see how some of the black shows through the green. You want to get that multiple tones going on. And then give it a little wash. And it works not too bad. It was pretty cheap. And get some outside pictures, better lighting, hooked up to the tractor. So, all right, have a good one. Be safe.